High Chief.
His demise, he was the remaining minister of the First Republic, and he played a very wonderful. He played a profound role while he was alive. Many of you know him by the he should be here. He's probably known as the boy is good. And I must tell you, in his youth, even in old age, he was good. Very good indeed. In many ways. I'm informed on my asking, why? Why is this man called the boy is good? Even when he's an old man of 90, 95, 94, the boy is good. He's still a boy. And he's still good. I was told a story of the role he played before independence, when series of attempts were made in the life of the national leader of NCNC that did a marvelous job in the national awareness of freedom and independence of Nigeria. It was said that the colonial masters did everything to take his life. One occasion, the meeting was called at the State House in Lagos, and as before his car was coming to a checking point, the car slowed down, and somebody pulled a dagger to stab Nnamdi Azikiwe, and he offered himself, and the dagger fell on him. And it was a very narrow escape for Nnamdi Azikiwe. And the following day, most of the papers, pilot carried the headline, "They conspire to destroy." That was the heading. They conspire to destroy. That was happening in the 50s. So, in many other ways, the boy was really good. He became one of the youngest minister of aviation. Am I right? Yes. He was the youngest he and the MTMBO, the late MTMBO, were known to be the youngest of the ministers. And he played his role very well until the 15th day of January 1966. So, I'm glad that within the short time available, we were able to pool the number of great men and women like you to pay their respects. May he so rest in peace.
So them are here. We have passed so many meetings like Zoom Monday because it was difficult for everybody to come together. But the time was short. We have tried our best. I only contacted Ben less than 10 days ago. Senator Ben Obi, and of course he willingly agreed and put up a team that have made this possible today. I'm grateful to them. Honorable C.Y. Manabu has been my boy to work with me in spending days in politics. I have seen that C.Y. still is the same young man, very honest, very reliable, very resourceful. Mabazuluike Amechi was about 60 years ago. I was then an undergraduate 60 years ago. I was undergraduate in the University of Nigeria. I was then one of the leaders of this Zikis Vanguard in the university in those days, when politics was at a boiling point. Mabazuluike was a young man then, very charismatic, and most of us young people then drew a lot of inspiration for him. I met him again when I contested the election as president of Nigeria. I contacted him to support me, and he did. I set up a committee of elders comprising him and many leaders in Nigeria, including people like Professor Denigwe, Ben Zeribe, Jerome Dodgy. There are many such great people who then work for me. They travel around the country. In fact, Mabazuluike took care of the western part of Nigeria. He did a great job for me. He loved me so much. In his life, you could see that even when he was on wheelchair, he was still working for our people. He was working for our people. I remember with nostalgia the last time he was with the president, when he said the president should give him Nnamdi Kanu for the peace of our people. So I was moved. So we are talking of a man who spent his life in services of our people. And he's the last of all those great people, those founding fathers of independence. I want to join all of you here to pay tribute to a great man, a political leader, a very great person. And also this time again, we remind the federal government to help us to see what we can take to get peace in Southeast. And most of us believe that if we can release Nnamdi Kanu, if Nnamdi Kanu can be released, so that we can be a process of peace summit which we are planning in Southeast. We are planning a peace summit in Southeast. In the next 2 days, people will know details of it. That will be very useful to us. Thank you very much.
Well, I'm wearing double cap here. I represent the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Buhari, who, in the lifetime of Mabazuluike Amechi, has extolled for his courage, qualities of a good leader, and a man who, he told me privately, is an epitome of what Nigerian leaders should be looking forward to, not amassing wealth. Mabazuluike Amechi, First Republic Minister, didn't amass wealth. All of you can attest to that. Ade Uchiafu Imaka, Ade Ezo. Dara Akumafo is one of those who came to serve in the real sense of service. So Mr. President acknowledged him. And when last year I brought a request for him to meet with some of our Igbo leaders and elders over Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And the group was to be led by Dara Akumafo, ably supported by another short man, Okwadike Ibu, who is there. I didn't see him earlier. He was our past deputy chairman. He supported Mabazuluike, Reverend Onoha, indeed Onoha, my humble self, and Dr. Past President of Mabazuluike. President did not hesitate in granting the audience immediately, and we saw him. We held a frank heart-to-heart talk. And you could see, if you watch the video clips and even the photographs taken that day, Mr. President told the delegation that the request being made was a request that is
touching his heart. A request that is weighty because he didn't want to offend the judiciary. He didn't want to offend the security agencies, but that he will give it a thought. He gave us that promise. And then Mabazuluike stayed in Abuja for about 3 or 4 days. I got him to talk with the President again at his request before he now went to Abakaliki from Abuja. Dave Umahi accommodated him in Abuja for some days before he went back to Anambra State. So Mr. President has tremendous respect for this our brother. And it's just a respect born out of the fact that he saw in him a true Nigerian. He also read that Mabazuluike kept Nelson Mandela in his place in Lagos during the apartheid regime's hunt for Nelson Mandela. And he said to Mabazuluike when we had finished and we were chatting, he told him that he's a man of courage that will put into his house a man who is wanted internationally. And Mabazuluike told him that he's an international man, and that is why they call him the boy is good. He received his death with some measure like those of sadness, because at that day at 94, if I'm correct, he told him that many people of your age cannot even remember things, not to talk about coming here and putting things that happened before and contemporaneous situation. And that he prays that people like them will get to that age. So when the news came that the boy is good as passed on, he wasn't very happy and asked him to extend condolences to the family. We have submitted a letter to him on behalf of the family. And my appointment with him is this afternoon, 3:30 to discuss the letter. I've also brought the Chief of Staff to discuss with the first son, and by this evening, I will know what the outcome of all those approaches have been. I've been away to India for a conference, and I just came in last night. So I think we'll get supportive arm from the federal government for this our brother. Nke gbasara mmụọ a ga-ekwu ya n'Igbo maka bụ onye Igbo.
2022, it was with great sadness that I learned of the passing of Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, a former Minister of Aviation during Nigeria's First Republic. The world mourns with you and celebrates the extraordinary life of this remarkable leader who devoted his time, energy, and resources to developing what he called our common home and future. We thank God for the fulfilled life he lived, the lives he touched, and service to God and our nation. His tireless efforts earned him numerous awards, accolades, and the respect of millions who were inspired by his commitment to democracy, societal growth, the eradication of poverty, and civic engagement. Our late elder statesman's legacy will always be an example to all of us to persist in our pursuit of progress. We shall definitely miss our dear father, leader, and mentor. You have left a vacuum which will be difficult to fill. Rest on, Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, till we meet to part no more. Thank you and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Atiku Abubakar, Waziri Adamawa, presidential candidate of PDP in 2023 election,
I stand to extend to you his warmest greetings and condolences. He would have been here personally by himself, but as you know, he's right out there in Bauchi doing what he has to do. He has actually written a well-worded condolence message to the family of Dada Akinwafo through the national chairman of this planning committee, Chief Iwanyanwu. But however, he still feels that his presence here is highly needed to express strongly how he wished Dada Akinwafo would have been alive when he would have pleased God for him to may have won the 2023 election, that he would have drawn from wealth of his experience, and he would have been alive to see him actualize that his last wish, which was setting Nnamdi Kanu free. He has no doubt that the nation will miss him, especially this critical time. He saw in him as one of those he through aspiration and the courage in his battle for recovering of Nigeria. Because even when things were so rough, many times he had been to prison with his colleagues, the founding fathers. He never gave up. And that also signifies Atiku Abubakar's position of many, many times he has continued to struggle to be the president of this Nigeria, to help bring to fulfillment the visions of our founding fathers. On this note, we can only pray for the repose of his soul and ask Almighty God to grant him mercy and his soul eternal rest. Thank you very much.
Protocol. On my own part, I'm a friend to the family, to Dara. Dara used to call me his friend, although I was much, much younger than him. And he would talk to me and say, "You're my friend." And he would grow up to be like me, and I would say, "Thank you, sir." I came here to represent His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, but he has sent in message now that this event is extremely important to him, that he has cancelled all the things he had outside, and he was supposed to fly out, but he said he wants to come here to deliver his tribute himself. So you... Sorry, sir, you have to bend. For the opportunity to pay tribute to one of our national icons who fought and won our independence for us. But I'm convinced, and rightly so, that I'm not competent to talk about Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, principally because I didn't encounter him while in active service. Chief Amechi, you must know, was appointed Minister of Aviation at the age of 33 in 1962, just 1 year after I was born in 1961. So if I stand here to talk about him, I think certainly I may not be doing myself any good. But let me say that I am attracted to his records because of his early start. Started quite early in life, and is in view of the fact that I too started very early. So I took time to understudy him and to learn from his experiences. For want of time, let me say that the remarkable milestones in his career include the following: a patriot who devoted his time and energy to fight for the independence of Nigeria, a nationalist who believed and stood for the unity and progress of Nigeria,
a forthright nationalist who believed in the principles of justice, equity, and fairness as a foundation for a progressive society. A foremost trade unionist who fought to protect the rights and dignity of workers. An exemplary public servant who served his country with utmost commitment and dedication. As Chief Amechi goes home,
Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, the last man standing until very recently, a member of the Zikis movement, therefore a believer in Nigeria as giant of Africa, a believer in one Nigeria, a rejecter of Igbo enslavement in Nigeria, my senior brother, my political guardian, the giant among men, fare you well and rest in the bosom of the land. My political guardian, you know the current political situation in Nigeria more than I do. Please consult with the Amazon, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Zik of Africa, and tell me what to tell the peoples of Nigeria at this critical time. Yes, okay, I should say that God created Nigeria as a gem of a country. Yes, that some countries have all kinds of minerals, and we have all of them, including new one like California. Yes, but the Chinese know more the minerals we have in Nigeria than we do. Magadian, I call you the man is bad because they call you the boy is good. What do I tell our people in the circumstance we have now? Okay, that no group in Nigeria with proper analysis of their long-term interest will enjoy the disintegration of Nigeria. No group. The long-term interest of the Fulani lies in the new Nigeria, within which there will be full citizens of Nigeria with right of indigenship. On the contrary, if Atiku, their brother, is to take over from Buhari, it means that the northerner takes over from northerner, Muslim takes over from Muslim, Fulani takes over from Fulani. The result is disintegration of Nigeria. A unifier who calls for northerners to vote only for northerners, not Yoruba, not Igbo, must be left alone. No. We want Fulanis in Nigeria. Their special talent adds to the many talents from many tribes of Nigeria. Please recall that we have reached agreement with the youths of Igbo land, especially when they were reacting to what looked like the federal government of Nigeria working hard to push the Igbo out of Nigeria by various humiliations, various exclusions, various marginalizations, and all kinds of problems. We understood the youth and agreed that the Igbo man will not be slave in Nigeria. But we also agreed with them that
slaves do not become presidents in their countries. If one of us is elected president in Nigeria, we should begin to look for Biafra within, not outside Nigeria. The boy is good. Don't mind my calling you the man is bad. Recall the days of Obara, Awolowo, Ahmadu Bello as premiers. Were they not operating virtually independently of the central government? This is the matter of restructuring, which 80% of Nigeria have agreed to. And those who do not agree are confusing restructuring with results control. It will not take too long in the new Nigeria before every group in Nigeria will express pride in God's gift to us. And we make sure that we respect every group. The unexpected may happen soon, or the sagacious, deep-thinking, expert legalist Yoruba group are very close to exit from Nigeria. And when they nullify the imposed amalgamation fraud, exit from Nigeria will be free to all. Not even South Middle Belt Group, which has 4 zones out of 6, is thinking of staying back. Indeed, Yoruba and the Igbo are the most stupid of our peoples. They are really the problem of Nigeria. It is the choice of enmity that keeps Nigeria down. Yes. And they are not thinking of using the present easy situation to unite and stabilize Nigeria. How foolish can we be? We worship one God, the one God of Abraham. He created all of us. He chose to create me in Ibuku, where I became Igbo on arrival. By the same action, I became Christian on arrival. I chose none. You also chose none. And God did his will. Should religiosity and tribality concern us? Who is the guilty one? Only God is responsible. How foolish we are. Thank you very much.
Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, from the standpoint of a politician at a very young age, coming into the system at the time and fighting very hard to gain independence for this country. It took a lot of discipline, a lot of courage, a lot of sacrifice at the time. He represents a generation of politicians that probably are not the same as the politicians we are today. They were very committed. You could hardly have a politician at the time who was rich, who you will name his estates, who you will show his fleet of cars. They didn't have it, yet they got us independence. I want to look at him from that standpoint. I remember when he was having his 90th birthday celebration in 2019 in Owerri. I happened to be there. Among those who were there were two of his contemporaries, Alhaji Tanko Yakasai, who said he was the oldest among them. At the time Akwafo was celebrating his 90th birthday, Tanko Yakasai said he was 92. So by now, Tanko Yakasai should be 96. And also Chief Aya Adebanjo from the West. They were three contemporaries from three different parts of this country. Today, it is not exactly the same. We are not having exactly the same thing as what we used to have. They had one mind, and at the time, it was to gain independence for this country. He worked hard, and today, our Minister of Aviation, Senator Silka, is a young man. But you can see at that time, he was younger than him, 33 years of age. But yet was able to play a pioneering role in the establishment of the Ministry of Aviation. So he has come, he has fulfilled what he came for. He has been a success, whatever he touched. And if you ever were close to him, you will see him a very, very happy man. Even while he was on a wheelchair, he was still a very happy, fulfilled man. We can say, fare thee well, Akwafo, fare thee well. We will always remember you. Thank you.
Excellencies, my leaders, and my people, we are here gathered to give honor to whom honor is due, for a patriotic devotion and for an exalted character of a great Nigerian, and one who made huge sacrifice for us to have a nation called Nigeria. Mr. Chairman, and to all those of you who were able to put this together, God bless you for thinking it right to honor one of our own. I'll just make some requests, given what Chief Emmanuel said. First, to my brother, Minister of Aviation, Mabazuluike, please. The man being honored today was the first Minister of Aviation. It would really be appropriate to take that building of Ministry of Aviation and change it today to Mabazuluike Amechi building. And to you, the Anambarians, it would be really proper that that airport, the new airport, should be named after this great man. We must learn to give honor to whom honor is due. Again, he made a request. Mr. President, Ngige, representing Buhari. There's something we attach as Igbo culture, very important, when somebody makes a last request at the point of death. And he requested that the president should please not honor him in any way, but honor him by releasing his son, Nnamdi Kanu. My kindly request to say to Mr. President, now that he's dead, he's no more alive, he made that last request. May we honor him by bringing Nnamdi Kanu out for the purpose of peace, demonstration, and dramatization in the Federal Republic. But to this great man, I don't think honoring him means saying tribute. The best tribute we can give to Mabazuluike Amechi is the tribute of review our nation. But gentlemen, I know that for every sunrise there must be a sunset, and for every journey that has a beginning must have an end. In other words, his end has come. But he's not dead. He's simply transited. But let me say as I feel, I have not died before, and I don't want to plan to die soon. Now, but I do know that Mabazuluike Amechi must have been received by the likes of Awolowo, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Tafawa Balewa, Ahmadu Bello, and the host of those great leaders. And I'm sure a day like this is the day they are receiving him into the world beyond. And there's a meeting now going on as we're talking now. I'm just imagining that, not that I've been there before. And some of the things they're doing was to review this nation called Nigeria. And I heard Ahmadu Bello speaking with a loud voice. What is really happening to this country? What is happening to our nation? Why are there crises everywhere and everything? Why is there so much killings and so much bloodletting, so much disunity? And I can hear Zeke crying out and say, well, this is not the Nigeria we all thought and fought for. We're praying to have a better Nigeria. But I have Mabazuluike Amechi saying, I just came from Nigeria. And what is going on is about 2023 election. That there was some kind of injustice in the whole equation. Because till today, no evil man has become the president of Federal Republic of Nigeria. And just to pray. So to honor a man like this today, I think we should say to Nigerians, for the sake of those great men and women who came from the Igbo land, let us look at the Igbos. Don't throw the Igbos away. Throwing the Igbos away might be throwing away the destiny of this country. Let's not see the Igbos as non-performers and those who like war and violence. They're the peacemakers. And they're the only one in this country who can travel 1,000 kilometers away from their village, going to another state, developing the economy and the local economy. Those people cannot. But what I please Nigeria to be fair to the Igbo, Igbo should also be fair to themselves. But them,
And of course, respectfully, Mr. Chairman, kindly allow me and permit me to proceed without the protocols which have been well established. So it's always very difficult to be asked to pay a tribute to someone who one hardly knew or closely related with, except for the footprints he had left during his sojourn on this earth. When Chief Amechi was elected a member of the House of Representatives in 1959, on the platform of the NCNC, many of us, of course, obviously including myself, in this hall weren't born. Even when he was later appointed as Minister of Aviation, I wasn't born. I was just about to be born. This goes to show how enduring his legacies have been. For me to stand here or to honor this invitation and come here, it is for a reason. It is a record that he remained the minister until the country's first military coup in 1966, and during the period, of course, he has done greatly very well. I want to note that as a result of his vision, there are tremendous kinds of achievements that we had under his tenure as a minister. But more particularly is the membership of Nigeria into the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO Council, as a Part 2 member, and Nigeria had remained since then a Part 2 member of the Council. And again, also, even though Nigeria Airways, then West African Airways Corporation, became the national carrier of Nigeria, it was during his era as minister that it developed a strong presence in West Africa, establishing its footprints both in Africa, in Europe, and in the Americas. These were very critical contributions to the development of civil aviation, of course, all due to his own vision. For me, as an activist, one of the most
intriguing act of Chief Amechi as a minister is the report that he hid the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, for 6 months in Nigeria to prevent his arrest by crude, wicked, ungodly officials of the infamous and barbaric apartheid regime in Southern Africa. One commentator put it aptly, and I quote, Mabazuluike as a minister was not an armchair public servant. He was not just very ideological. He was activist in orientation and in practice. He went beyond routing or routine prescriptions, a style we recommend for today's public servants. He had his person fully into liberation fights, for example, in colonial struggles in Southern Africa region. Perhaps there would not have been a Nelson Mandela that many of you come to know today, if not for the action that he had taken at that time. That singular act was a reflection of the humanity and the deep sense of nationalism embedded in the man for whom we have all gathered here today. It is, however, a thing of joy that this great nationalist, this great activist, whose visionary leadership, among others, charted the way for the heights the nation has attained in the aviation world, lived long enough to see he has the opportunity to live long enough to see that what he has planted has come to fruition. We in the aviation sector celebrate this man for the life of activism, for the life of nationalism, for the life of service to fatherland, and for the life of service to humanity in general. At this juncture, it is imperative for me to please invite you to kindly stand still for 1 minute in honor of this great man, please. This podium ought not to be a political podium. But two things just struck my mind. Someone spoke about us coming from Abraham. And indeed, that is my focus. I'm only taking advantage of this forum to say so. It's been in my heart. It is my belief that if we decide to divide ourselves, we don't need to be Hausas, Christians, Muslims, north or south. We will certainly find a reason to divide. This is nature. Somalia is one language, one religion, one culture, one people, one history, one tradition, one mode of life. They've been fighting for 40 years. They didn't need to be Igbo, Hausa, Yoruba, or Kaji to fight or to separate. They did it. If you will divide, you will always find that reason to divide as human beings. Within the same house of fathers and one father, one mother, 8 kids, they will certainly divide. There will always be something to divide upon. In my village where I come from, my father was a forestry officer. He resigned his forestry work and put one farmhouse in Dubawa, Sabangar Srika, near Shargale, or attached to Shargale, and now popularly called as Shargale itself. That one farmhouse, with no school and nothing, with only fresh leaves to eat. Today we have 4 primary schools, 3 primary schools, 2 secondary schools, including one dedicated to women, police station, courts, hospital, and the rest of it. But in that one farmhouse that has become now, and the last count, about 2,000 households, there exists an Igbo man. His popular name is Aich, and I believe the first I is Ike. I don't know what the next G stands for. If you see his passport, place of birth, Shargale. Local government, Dusi. States of origin, Kazina. And his scholarship not more than 40, because his father was also born there, and they're traders. 16 kilometers to the south of that point, the gentleman now who mimics President Buhari, MC Tagwai, is from a village called Dugul in that same locality. In 16 kilometers to the west, there exists Mazi Okafo in Mashi, who has the same and similar history and who also bears the same personality. 16 kilometers, this one is about 20 kilometers, not 16 really. In Daura, there exist many of them, and they're all Igbos. So, if you find a reason to be Christianity, that's the reason why you don't want to align with someone. There is no Muslim who will be a Muslim today, and God will accept his Islam, except if he believes in the virginity of Virgin Mary and the miraculous birth of Jesus Christ. This whole chapter of the Quran, a whole chapter of the Quran on Virgin Mary. My mother's name is Mary. I've named my daughter Mary. My in-law is Mary. My sister named by my father is Mary. I know, sir, please. It's Mary. My mother's name is Mary. I named my daughter Mary. My sister, my father named her Mary. And my in-law is Mary. This is because we want to get that blessing of Virgin Mary. No one else. And if I have a chance of another daughter, her name will be Mary. So how can you speak to me about religion to divide? Or how can you divide me when I had the honor and opportunity to meet Chief Mokogo Okoye, who discussed and taught me Zikism and the Zikis movement and for what it stood. And I followed that trajectory until this moment. Perhaps that explains my being in opposition all my life. In 2004, build up to 2007 election, we in the Buhari movement, then called Project Nigeria, then we went to become the TBO, the Buhari organization, and ended up in APP. In 2004, we were invited to the first, or I don't know what the first, but the Igbo Congress that held in New Jersey. And after the lecture, President Buhari had a lecture, and I was there. We went, 4 of us. And one young man asked President Buhari, will you support an Igbo presidency? It wasn't within the context of the paper. And the man said no. And I almost pissed in my pants because we were building to 2007. And the boy said, but why? He said, here is why. Here is why. He said, when Zik of Africa earned the name of Zik of Africa, Nelson Mandela was going to school. Zik, with the money of West African pilots, sent Kwame Nkrumah to school. Zik was Zik for Africa, Zik for the world, not Zik of Nigeria. And he's an Igbo man. And he went down all the way to Okpara and all of them and said how great they were as politicians, including his running mate at the time, when you were going, whom he has chosen by himself because he's Igbo man. And he showed somebody sitting down at the front row who was Philip Emeagwali, if the name is correct. He produced the fastest processor computer in the world at that time, and he was Igbo man. He named the name of someone who was at the time in ECN, Electricity Corporation of Nigeria, who was an Igbo man, whose during his tenure, there was no one single blink of light. An Igbo man. He had said all of those great things that the Igbo had done to the politics of Nigeria, to the liberation movement, to our own freedom, to our own independence and what they have continued to do. And he said, furthermore, they are the only tribe that are on every single polling unit in the country today. They're the only ones. So it demonstrates their belief in Nigeria. Because they're all over the place. They're all over the place. And on purpose, without coercion, he named 2 Igbo men to be his vice presidential candidates. The Mabazuluike and the Oyuboyi. And he's on his way to making the 3rd. When I drove him to the house of Senator Ben in Apple, legislative to plead with Ken Enamani to be his 3rd running mate for the 3rd consecutive time, because he believes that these people have the capacity to do so. And he went on naming people by name and what they had done for the country, which I have forgotten. But we have the records. And he said, but instead of this huge population of believers of Nigeria who are in every single polling unit, to understand what Oyi had said and what Zik himself has said, to extend their hands across the Niger to the Yorubas or across Benue to the houses where the population is, and make huge political alliance and negotiate and take over power. They had resigned themselves in asking for another country, Biafra. He said, if today the Igbo people will ask for Nigeria, I, Muhammadu Buhari, will be the first person to cast my vote for them, because I had done it 3 times, twice with Oyi, once with Oyi, and second with Emezoke, and I was on my way to making it 3rd time with Ken Enamani. But if they've asked for Biafra, then I will insist on Nigeria, and that will be the dividing line. So I want to use this opportunity because I've seen people who have been somebody before I became anybody. And I've seen my colleagues seated right here. That the minute we begin to do the right thing, the minute these people, these strong people with capacity, they have the money, they have the intellect. My predecessor there, I read it all the time. A super intellectual. They have the intellect, they have the money, they have the numbers. If they will ask for Nigeria, they certainly will get for Nigeria. If they will ask for Biafra, they will be in Biafra. And lastly, just before I go, you know, certainly it's very sad. This thing is not unique to Nigeria. This clamor, this elite conspiracy against the people, the elite conspiracy against the people, to be saying one thing or another, to be asking for one political mileage or another, which they don't actually mean. And exactly as if I knew he would be here, he has just demonstrated what I've just said a few minutes ago. Look at the welcome. Look at the joy. A lady removed her wrapper and laid it on the floor for him to march upon. A lady removed her wrapper and laid it on the floor for him to march. That is the respect. That is the obedience. That is what she thinks should be. So imagine that this huge reception. Sana Baba, that's what I should say. Thank you, sir. With which we received His Excellency Chiwabi, and if we could obediently do all of this and replicate it in every single polling unit, and make the alliances that are needed, and get together to ask for Nigeria, that perhaps could have been the solution. So, if a people decide today in the United States of America, in 2022, they are still talking about the first black woman to be in the Supreme Council. This is the misnomer. This is the America who talked about freedom. That the strength of the United States of America, which I believe is in their belief for freedom. But they're still talking about a black woman going to Supreme Court in 2022. How backward. So if people choose to divide, they can divide for nothing. It doesn't have to take to be a Hausa or Yoruba or Igbo, or Muslim or Christian, or North or South. So the minute that our leaders would begin to stop, including us, the elites, begin to stop playing the politics at the expense of our people or our country, that minute that they begin to stop is the beginning of prosperity of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister of Aviation. Since we have started flying,
I'm honored to stand on this platform to pay tribute to Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, aka the boy is good. In the presence of a galaxy of leaders, rulers, stakeholders, patriots, and fathers of the contemporary Nigeria. Chief Mabazuluike Amechi earned this honor and respect we bestow on him today because of the significant role he played for Nigeria to attain its nationhood. There's this popular slogan, to be a man is not a day's job. He suffered to become the legend that he is in Nigeria. Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, at a very young age, lived his dreams, his vision, and accomplished his political mission with his other contemporaries. His educational background as an American graduate was rare in his days. His courage as a unionist and an activist prepared him to become the first Minister of Aviation in Nigeria. He takes credit for the establishment of a new and post-independence aviation sector in Nigeria. He was able to sustain the daunting challenges of the transition from West African Airways Corporation to Nigeria Airways. What is intriguing is that at the time, young Mabazuluike was 33 years of age. He held that position till the 1966 military coup. Before then, he was an unrepentant activist and had been jailed for his political struggles. He was never deterred. His courage stood him out. His elegance, intimidating and imposing stature, his eloquence and oratory are all the features that earned him greatness among his peers.
Is that momentum that was created in the past. There are going to always be multiple conversations in Igbo land. Those who say our best interest is to be on our own. That is a legitimate aspiration. Those of us who say that our best interest is to be in a larger Nigeria where we can find ourselves. Nobody should hold us hostage for having contradictory views in Igbo land. But the majority of Igbo people have voted with their feet that we live across Nigeria, build houses, do business in Nigeria, live in Mashi and in Katsina is the ultimate proof that we are the one Nigerians. Thank you very much.
of the Labour Party. I
on your behalf, want him to make a speech, but I went to him and said, Your Excellency, we have been asking people to, because of his obedience, we are making it true.
Let me respectfully stand on all due and existing protocols, because I have so many revered fathers here from, I happen to come close to our dear late father, while I was governor of Anambra State. I do take time to visit him from time to time. And he was one of those who will always, like it's been said by so many people, tell me histories of this, and how to do this, how to do that, and everything, and all that, and we remain very close. He has always believed that people from the Southeast should assert themselves, be part of the political process, no matter the circumstances, and live with it. We even became closer when Mandela died, I recall. And the federal government of Nigeria has chosen me as one of those that will go for the burial with the then president of Nigeria, or representative of Nigeria. And he had applied because he told me a story, one of his stories. He told me about how close he was with Mandela and everything, and they have exchanged letters and everything. So he applied to the federal government to pay for him to be part of their delegation. But the federal government, one way or the other, didn't work. So he came back to tell me the story, and I said, listen, I don't know Mandela. I read about Mandela. So since I'm going to go, and I'm going to pay for me to go, it is better that I pay for you to go, because you know Mandela. I know his friends. I don't know him. So it is better. So I had to pay for him. Told him, I said, you know them, I don't know them. So I'll just be there as one of those who came to South Africa. So you better we invest in Anambra State more wisely by paying for somebody who knows the Mandela family. And he went to South Africa. And when he came back from South Africa, I thought he was going to say, just thank you to me. He now reminded me of so many other things I need to do for him as a father, which I continue to do. Was a wonderful father, was a good man. And he's lived his life. It's there for the rest of us to emulate what they did, the struggle, everything, and continue to maintain the fact that we are part of this enterprise called Nigeria. And nobody can relegate us to the background. Thank you, and God bless you.
As the only friend of late Chief Mabazuluike Amechi, Dara, present here. I happen to know Chief Mabazuluike Amechi during the NCNC convention in Kano in 1954. I met him with Chief RDK Okafo, Chief Olu, I remember, the Minister of, Chimfoshvili, my son has just reminded me. We became friends, like I said, during the 1954 NCNC convention. You know, NCNC is called National Party at the beginning of Nigeria and Cameroon, when Cameroon was part of it. After that, it became National Council of Nigerian Citizens, and it remained like that up to the end of his life. I was acting National Secretary of NEPU by the time I met Chief Mabazuluike Amechi in 1954. But I was the substantive publicity secretary of the party at that time. Since then, we remain friends. Not only we remain friends, but we remain brothers. Chief Okafo brought his eldest son to my house to stay with me, and I took him to school, and he stayed with my own eldest son as his brother, Amin. Unfortunately, Dabo died, but Amin is still alive. To leave the legacy of the friendship and the relationship between the North, which I represented in this friendship, and the South, which Chief Mabazuluike Amechi represented at that time. So the name Mabazuluike Amechi was the symbol of national unity. Not him alone, but represented the symbol of national unity. NEPU entered into alliance with the National Council of Nigeria, led at that time by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. And it is not by accident. When NEPU was formed, the Daily Comet, owned by Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, was brought from Lagos to Kano before the formation of NEPU. And therefore, by the time NEPU was formed in 1949, it straight away went into alliance with the NCNC. And they remained in alliance till the end of the First Republic. So we are proud to be people who committed themselves to the unity and progress of this great country. Mabazuluike Amechi and myself became friends. Although he was born in 1949, I was born in 1945, we became friends like twins. I thank the Master of Ceremony of this occasion for sitting me next to the former minister, Madam Chikwe. Why? Because my name, Tanko Yakasai, is a typical Hausa name given to any son who is born by his parents after 2 or more female children. So I'm not only a junior brother to my late sisters, but today I'm a junior brother to Chinua Uke. Because she represents all the females, including my mother and mother of everybody, here and outside. So I'm glad that we are honoring Chief Mabazuluike Amechi. This is a rare situation in Nigeria. We are not honoring our heroes, I will take this opportunity to appeal to you who are present here and those who will hear this appeal, anywhere they are, if they are Nigerian. Please to adopt a culture of respect for people who committed themselves to this country and to the elders. Because we didn't born ourselves, we were born from some people. I'm glad that we are honoring Chief Mabazuluike Amechi. I hope this tradition will be continued by the younger generation so that we'll keep this tradition as part of the culture of Nigeria. So that whenever any one of our elders is gone, we'll take the trouble to honor him for what he did before. It is not proper that when you die, you, the younger people die, because I know that I have no age mate here. But it is important that you keep in mind that you will continue to respect your elders, not just by the time they are alive, but even after their death. I thank you very much.